Thank you, Praveen, and for this invite and the place where we are in. The subject of sustainability is quite important, and I think in our era we are seeing disruption is one of the key aspects of this particular conference. But we are seeing disruptions in our day-to-day life as well due to climate change, and the kind of precipitation which we are seeing today is unprecedented. And I think these frequencies of these natural events in a 3-degree 3-degree temperature rise world, it's going to become a common theme for all of us to going forward. And in this situation, how do we recover from all of these disruptions? How do we respond to them? And how do we become resilient? And I think this panel we have here, we have a very distinguished panel. All the panelists come with a great amount of experience, and we have a diverse panel in which we can get various perspectives, and I hope to cover most of the aspects in relation to supply chains and the industry point of view, as well as logistics point of view in bringing everything together. Warm welcome to all the panelists over here, and I'll start with Mr. Ravindra. I think he has got a flight to catch. Ravindra, from the perspective of Apcotex, I see that you've got a lot of initiatives on sustainability and special initiatives, and it is one of the core objectives of the company. What are the kind of innovations? And since one of the aspect of this particular conference is also on innovation, what are the innovative aspects of sustainability that you have brought about in your company?
So, good afternoon all. Innovation by word or by meaning has a glory around it. But if we go to the ground level, the factory workmen and then climbing up to the super levels, innovation can happen at any place. So, as far as sustainability is concerned, the dictionary meaning says that it is which will never go away, or it will keep on running, or it will continue for an infinite time. Now, for doing this, if you Google sustainability, it will talk about recycle, reuse, and all those stuffs. But in the real sense, there are few initiatives Apcotex has taken, and one of them, the biggest initiative is about renewable energy. So reducing the carbon footprint is one of the major area we are working on, because all the electricity from the grid, or even you have cogen boilers you take, most of them are efficient when they are running on coal. And that is where the renewable energy plays a great role. And Apcotex has just entered into a contract for 5 megawatt renewable energy. It's a hybrid model consisting of wind energy plus solar energy. And we will be converting about 70% of our electricity requirements on renewable energy. This should start from say around December end or so, and 70% also is because of certain rules of the government, because the agencies like MSEB in Maharashtra and GB in Gujarat, they have specific rules on banking, because electricity storage is a problem, and there are then zones and everything. So Because of that, we have kept it at 70%, otherwise we would have gone on to 100% renewable energy. That's one initiative. Second initiative is, of course, Apcotex has recently changed their office and within Navi Mumbai. So from Vashi, we have moved to Seawoods and we have gone to a green building completely. So that is another thing. Third thing, it's like low-hanging fruits from the operations where we manufacture different grades of latex and actually there are changeovers which kill the production time, water, electricity, everything. So we have aligned our productions in such a way that you don't require changeovers in certain grades. From one grade, you can directly switch on to the other grades. So keeping aside demand forecast, we have developed the storages for the month and we are manufacturing in one go so that our changeovers are reduced and we have the continuous manufacturing. Fourth thing is we are also, the boilers are there, it's a chemical industry, steam requirement will not go away, you can do away with the electricity requirement from the cogen, but steam is already, it's a never-ending part of the chemical industry. So for steam we have started using briquettes and we have converted 50% of the coal into briquettes. So these are few initiatives which will, we are looking at a target of our zero carbon neutrality by 2045.
That's very heartening to see all the initiatives which you have taken. Most of these aspect, and as Ravindra ji was telling on the aspect of 70% renewables, I think it's on group captive structure that you're taking. And also from the state's perspective, there are also possibilities of going to the DISCOMs and also entering into a bilateral contract with them to understand how they can ease your banking related issues as well to make it to 80%, 90%. I think none of the governments and all of the governments are leading to our naturally determined contributions, which is like by 2070 we also need to get to net zero as whole of India. And all of you are contributing to it, and I think you can go and have a petition filed and you can also take it forward with the governments. I think it is the right of all of us to go 100% renewables, and it is something that we could take it up. On the second aspect, all of the initiatives which you mentioned are all internal. So there are external vendors and supply chain aspects wherein raw materials are coming into your manufacturing facility and then going to the market. Then there are logistic players, there are other people, other stakeholders involved. Are there any other initiatives wherein you're bringing everyone together in this sustainability journey of yours?
So as far as stakeholders are concerned, we are developing most of the raw materials which are imported from the domestic market. So alternate product development, that's a part of innovation actually. And we are developing not same product, but similar chemistry, which will help. Apcotex manufactures synthetic latex, and there are various antioxidants, emulsifiers, and chain modifiers are required. And some of the biggest companies, chemical companies in the world are masters of it. So there are no alternatives to their products. The whole world is using those products. And Apcotex has started developing alternate products. And we are right now almost like 80% of our imports have been, we have now the domestic manufacturers as well. So the best part of it is that you are, again, reduce the carbon footprint, you reduce your lead times, you are closer to your JITs, And then overall, from the sustainability point of view, this all helps in your carbon neutrality. The second part is that as far as transportations are concerned, we are giving an additional preference to the suppliers near to our plants. That reduces the carbon footprint because that much less transportation by kilometers is happening. Third important thing is we are also going into electric trailers. So particularly for exports, when you are taking the containers to the plant, the trailers which are normally diesel driven. We have a plant in Ankleshwar from which we export through Hazira, and we have a plant in Maharashtra in Taloja which we export from Nhava Sheva. So both the Nhava Sheva is just 40 kilometers away and Ankleshwar plant is about 100 kilometers away from Hazira. So we have started evaluating the electric trailers. So that will be an additional carbon footprint saving. Along with that, for all the domestic pan-India transportation, we have started giving preference for the CNG vehicles because diesel is a common factor for most of the vehicles, but whoever is CNG vehicles, we have started giving. Another stakeholder involvement is the supplies in drums. Latex is a liquid product, and the customers within a radius of 100 kilometers from our plant, we have started evaluating supplies in IBCs where those empty IBCs can be brought back to our plant and reused. So one IBC will at least make 10 rounds before it is discarded, whereas the drums are discarded in the very first go. So that's reuse, one of the initiative we have taken. And apart from that, waste management. So our R&D team is working on the yield improvement, which gives a lot of advantage to the company, but at the same time, wastage is reduced. And certain products we are previously discarding. Now those products we are developing job workers to have those products, instead of discarding those products, that waste is used in something and then it is further sent for the final use. So waste management is another initiative we have taken up.
No, fantastic, Ravindraji. I am very glad to hear that, the sustainability as a concept, it's not just internal and you need to take around everyone along that journey. And that's beautifully done through all of these aspects. And it's not just one initiative, it's creating that ecosystem wherein all that you are doing is moving towards emission reduction or reducing the disruptions, and to let the audience know that all of these initiatives are somehow also adding up to the efficiency, adding up to the profitability, adding up to the bottom line. So at the end of the day, these are initiatives which are profitable and they add on to your cost effectiveness, and the entire value of the company increases.
Actually, that point is very important because whenever people talk about sustainability, carbon neutrality, the first thing comes to mind is what extra cost we are going to spend. And here we are trying to see that cost is not going up. At the same time, we are able to, control all the carbon footprint.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution to the panel. And I think you have a safe flight and a safe journey. Thanks for all your information for the audience as well.
Thank you. I'm very sorry I have to rush. Thank you.
So this, thank you. This brings to me to a very interesting segue to. No problem. So carrying on this interesting conversation, uh, bringing in Pratyush at this point in time. At Evonik, you've spearheaded many sustainability initiatives again, and also from a compliance point of view, or say from a reporting point of view, there are many initiatives which you have taken on the GRI frameworks and emission reduction again. Would you like to highlight some of the initiatives which you have taken up at Evonik, and what are the things that you want to let the audience know that they could do again in terms of adding on to the profitability? I think it is very important to hammer it into all of us that these costs are something that will only add value to the company. So over to you, Pratyush.
So thanks, Ashish. So sustainability is something which is always behind any decision, any information, or it is there by design. That is what I can say about Evonik. So we as a specialty chemical manufacturer, having presence almost in 70 countries, and then working day in and day out with more than 2,400 chemicals, specialty chemicals, and managing those across the globe. So while working on such huge portfolio with multiple business lines, it's always you can say a major consideration, or rather it's a primary part of all decisions at Evonik to consider sustainability at each step of what we do. Specifically, it starts from a business, so designing of a business. So whenever we plan for our business, we work on product, portfolio, and then region. And always the backbone for these decisions or this portfolio is sustainability. May it be sustainability analysis of our business, where we go end to end from suppliers to customers, and the end application of it, what value we are going to add to particular portfolio with our customer, how we are scaling up our customers with effective product. So that is something what we consider. Then earning per carbons are already calculated along with life cycle assessment, value chain analysis, and identifying sustainable development goal in hand with SDG. So this is what we do for our business whenever we think of any new product. So you can understand the sustainability is already there right from the day one. And then how we do sustainability analysis, what is the methodology? So Evonik has already published a global sustainability report. You can always refer that. That's a big document, but I will just give gist of it for benefit of all of us. So we start with defining objective scope. What is scope for that? Then defining assessment segments. So may it be product and region for a particular product, and how it will be effective considering all the angles to it. And then detecting market signals. So it's very important where we consider all length and breadth of sustainability, may it be regulatory framework, may it be environment, may it be, you can say, critical substances, scalability, certifications, and all sort of stuff. And then we identify those signals, whether what are strong positive, strong negative signals for our business or the product which we discuss. Definitely procurement is always a part of this initiative, where we see the involvement of procurement in new business development, new product development, where we scan market right from the transportation, production, and the availability of our raw materials at different regions, different country, different geography, and at what scale, whether it's green, what kind of green percentage it has, and whether suppliers are already a sustainable supplier, whether they are EcoAudit assessed, TFS audited. This is a primary screening what we do, and then get all this arrangement into a business discussions. With that, we have certain categories for our products when we launch those products into the market, like challenged, transitioner, performance, and drivers and leaders, where we have very strong and positive signals. After all these assessment, we go with leaders or drivers, where we have sustainable footprint across the value chain. And that will be the outcome from our business decisions. with all those perspective defined and carried forward. And that's how we move forward.
It's very important that the beginning of any sustainability related initiative happens at the right time and baking it into the decisions at the board level, it becomes all the more important. And basically from having, like, I started this journey 25 years back when I did this rural electrification projects, and when I realized that till about 4 5 years back it was still something that it is out of the boardrooms, but I'm very happy that it's now the one of the things that you take into consideration while taking any of the decisions, which is commendable and great for Evonik. But at the same time, there is also something that I saw with regards to stakeholder engagement and taking all the people with you from on the sustainability journey with regards to capacity building. Not everyone is aware of sustainability initiatives, even though at the board level you are taking certain decisions, taking into consideration, but the shop floor people or any of the vendors, in your supply chain, how are you building this capacity? And I saw a great number of 80 to 90% training and aspects, but would you like to throw some light on this, and so that people can have these best practices implemented in their companies?
Yeah, so we strongly believe that people talent and the people pool is basis for any development in the industry. So if we develop our people and train them to latest technologies or latest requirement from market, then definitely that offers us an edge when we move forward in any competitive world or the world which require more out of anything, and that is how we define supply chain and getting value out of those supply chains. So training of people and training of all stakeholders in the same supply chain is at most important, where we make sure that everyone understand and they are all on the same platform. So we cannot just play on a platform which is uneven, and that may be a challenge to you can say start with. So specifically we do our groundwork with a proper training to our own employees. Then we target that we train our suppliers. We have a vision where we say that by 2030, more than 90% of our suppliers will be either TFS assessed or EcoVadis audited. This is a challenging target within among ourselves, and to achieve that, we are really well on track. We as an employee get regular trainings from our corporate training portal. Then we have external trainings where we utilize TFS trainings from their TFS portal. Secondly, we have our sustainability team sitting in Germany. They directly get into a discussion with any kind of supplier where we see certain risks. So managing those risks, they get into a picture, and directly we train our suppliers through them. Definitely there are multiple categories, risk assessments and various scores from various audits which we already work on. So this makes the basic building blocks for training, and on those building blocks, after evaluation, we make those decisions on the level and the intensity of training and identify those from various channels, various category managers across geography. And internally, we share those best practices and then learn from each other within Evonik itself. So this is how we are building our training culture, and this now we want to extend to our transporters as well. Specifically for this region, globally the economies are matured, so we may not need to train them because it's already there in place. Considering regional challenges, we plan to do it in India as well. Yeah.
No, this is really heartening to see the amount of investment which is going into all the stakeholders, everyone, taking them along this journey. Of course, there are now online modules and aspects which can help in accelerating that training, and that brings me, let me bring in Anand into this, and into this conversation of how technology can play a role in this aspect of sustainability. And we at BCG, we do have a lot of tools with regards to AI, and wherein we can predict climate analytics, and also from a perspective of emission reductions at a from a long-term perspective, and we can bring in, and the beauty of AI is that we can have these decisions made for the long term in a very quick manner. And I think tell us all about about your company, and also bring in the aspects of how you see technology playing a role in this conversation.
Yep. Thank you so much. I think technology has always been around, right? I think the more important thing that I've witnessed over the last 25, 26 years is how we use data, right? And with each evolution that happened, right, the data started getting better and better. And earlier in the discussions, I heard a lot about separating signals from noise. And that has to do with what the company wants to actually track and measure, right? So when you have solid foundations and conversations around sustainability, I think it becomes imperative to kind of know what are the signals that it really contributes to those goals, right? And technology can then aid that. I mean, you have enough of technology that can process data, that can do analytics. You have consulting help to kind of make sense of that. So I think that's what's really contributing to it. Apart from that, the other big important point, I think you touched upon it, is risk management, right? So I had the good fortune of working with one of the leading risk management firms in my career as well. And what I've seen is companies do amazing amount of work trying to quantify the risks, right, at each stage that can contribute to their ESG goals and things like that. So a combination of this ability to mitigate risk, which technology can provide, the ability to use the data that you have, separate the signals from the noise and what you want to measure. I think that's when technology can be leveraged. Otherwise, you just have it on the shelf, right? You don't use it. Many of the IT guys say that, hey, listen, we bought the software, but nobody really knows what's the use of that, right? So I think it's very important that you have a proper goal and what you need to track. And that's what technology can then help leverage. Coming back to, Natrodyne and AI, right? So Natrodyne is in a space where we transport, or we help in safety related aspects of transporting hazardous chemicals from point A to B, or what are the distances. Now this technology is very powerful because the technology is AI based camera vision that can actually monitor every object that's out there on the road in the path of a person driving, and also the in-cab vision, right, where the driver is monitored. Now, this monitoring is mostly for the safety of the driver himself, things like drowsiness monitoring, right? So there are a lot of studies based on which the AI is trained. There's a Stanford Sleep Scale, there's KSS, things like that, so you can track the eyelid movements, pre-close rates, and the reason why I brought this up is that's one of the #1 causes of accidents across, including in India, right? So I think these technologies are a reality right now, and they can absolutely help, as an offshoot for the sustainability goals, to help drivers transport those goods safely, make sure the environment is protected, and be a little more proactive, right? So I think AI plays a big role, and what we are also seeing is that a lot of those goals tied to transportation, right? People are moving and increasing the portfolio of hauliers who have electric vehicles, They have better capacities to kind of process stitched data, if you will, from your traditional vehicles, and that gives a lot of feedback to the command center, the control center that can take action very quickly. So I think I can go on about technology, but I think it really depends on what the goals are, what the company is trying to achieve it, and at the forefront, the companies are actually driving those goals, and we at the end kind of showcase that value back to them.
Thank you, Anand, and I think it's brought in an angle of how important data is to manage risks. And I have to tell you that we do invest quite a lot in all our businesses. We create value, but more importantly, I think going into the future, I think we need to protect that value. And the protection of that value will happen through data, and it will happen through technology. How do you foresee things which you can't, which you could not 4-5 years back, but today because of AI and other technologies, be it climate risk, be it environmental risks, and this is a great technology, I think, for also from a environment point of view, because hazardous waste is anyways something that we are all should be, taking care of. And I think it's equally important to not only take care of emission reductions, but also taking care of our biodiversity, flora and fauna, and other aspects when you come to nature-based resources which we have got. So it's not just about emission reductions, but also taking care of all the environment we are in, and all the pollution aspects also need to be taken into consideration hand in hand going forward. I think most of the reporting structures also within India, the SEBI guidelines or the RBI guidelines, they are also taking into consideration water, air, and other effluents which are important today. So more and more emphasis on sustainability. It's also coming from the compliance side, but having somebody like Evonik who have a vision for doing good for the environment and also doing good for the business, I think that's important. Thank you so much for bringing in your perspectives. Prakash, I would like to see, when it comes to data, you have very impressive strides in sustainability. Already your 50% scope 1, scope 2 emission reduction you've taken care of, and also scope 3 to the tune of 27%, and hard to abate emission reductions by 5%. That's very impressive, and you have a very good target for that. So would you like to highlight for all of us some of the initiatives you have taken up, and how did you come up with such aggressive acceleration in sustainability aspects?
Maybe at Clariant, innovation and sustainability go hand in hand. Basically what happens, maybe I will give a classic example in India, since we are having a surfactant chemistry. So earlier we used to use the source which was monomer for making this ethoxylate part was from petrochemicals. But later on what we had decided, let us move to the next source, that is the really green source. So it is a plant-based source, and then we have acquired the new company in India. You might be aware that Indian Glycol Limited, we have acquired part of this business, and this business is really doing very high profit to Clariant. On the one front, we are telling to the world or selling this product as a green product, and we also get a price on top of that. So maybe 15 to 20% high price we are getting, and globally these products are well appreciated. So this is one type of what we can say the focus of Clariant, that switch towards the sustainable product. I will also give one classic example. We have a business unit catalyst. So here in biocatalyst we have a company in India, that is Sudhkemi company, Sudhkemi India. So here the innovation plays a very important role. The products are developed within 15 days or 1 month, and then the trials are taken at various locations. So very fast approach we have really, and this plays a very important role because these all catalysts are used for cracking process for petrochemical industries. And then these products are tested, and at the customer end, the energy which was earlier required very high has been drastically reduced. So we get a lot of what we can say the customer satisfaction by doing this innovation. So these are some efforts which we really take and which finally leads to the profitability and the customer satisfaction. And we can say that we are really driving towards a sustainable product. So that is one part. Another part is innovation cannot be only comes through the lab. A simple classic example I can quote here, that earlier we used to drive our product with thermal sources, but later on what we have done, we have just used the natural resources to dry our product. And that tremendously helped us to reduce the scope 1, scope 2 values. So similarly on scope 3 part, we really working in Europe basically, that integrated with the different chemical companies and using our transportation facility so that the footprint comes down. So these are some quite good initiative which we are really taking to take this scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3, and which finally result in our profitability.
Oh, great to hear these stories, and interestingly, the greening of any product also gives a lot of premium, and I think and people are ready to pay for that premium. That is very important aspect. And today you talked about the research and development aspects, and we as India need to do a lot on that on the alternatives side. I think there's a huge potential of plant-based alternatives, and I think this sector can do a lot if together if we bring about a change in, if any company like Clariant can take a leadership position to get things moving in this direction, so that that it also helps in the self-reliance aspect of where India stands now from Atmanirbhar perspective as well. And great initiatives. I would also like to ask on your supply chain initiatives. All you talked about was again internal. How do you bring along the others in the ecosystem? Anything on the aspect of disruptions? Because today we are seeing a lot of disasters also happening, and also from a perspective of climate change, the disruptions. How do you help the other stakeholders and the supply chains to, are there any initiatives which you have taken up to take them along the journey?
Basically in Clariant, what we have a TFS, that is Together for Sustainability, and whenever we select any supplier, we see to that they are also registered with this TFS, and they are fulfilling all the requirement of TFS. Another we have at Clariant is we audit the facility of the service provider, and whenever we are selecting any LSP, we mainly focus on the safety part and sustainability part. So we have a checklist for selection of LSP, and then after fulfilling of this checklist, then only we select this LSP, and then we regularly do the audits of this LSP. That is very crucial and very important. Otherwise, once done is not full and final, so we conduct audit, and we also conduct training to this LSPs. Trainings with respect to the compliance part, and training with respect to the sustainability. So recently we have acquired one warehouse near to Bombay. There we have checked that whether they are really using all the natural resources. Maybe suppose they are using the lights in the warehouse, or they need some energy in the warehouse, whether it is from the green sources. So we really select the LSP based on all these criteria. And we also trained on the compliance part, because compliance is really very important for Clariant being a multinational company.
Great, and I think the using of natural resources to reduce emissions, I think that the example which you gave on the thermal side to cooling, I mean, that's great. Natural drying, I think it was amazing, and also from a training perspective, it highlights the fact that capacity has to be built very rapidly. Coming to our last speaker, Rajnish, if you've been patiently waiting, it's and also from we have talked about all the supply chains, but Rajnish and his company, Baxi, they are the most crucial aspect of logistics, and taking pride in the fact that it's been 108 years into the business. At ports, how do you see sustainability coming to the forefront? We heard from the chairman of VOCPA on how they have a very aggressive target, by the way, of 2027. They want to become emission free by offsetting, by using renewable energy of 6, as of now 8 megawatts of wind, and other 4-5 megawatts of solar, and also the various green hydrogen initiatives which we heard, very impressive. So from your experience globally and also in India, how are you thinking that these ports, which are also the hubs of all the logistics, go forward on sustainability?
Thanks, Ashish. So you just heard Clariant, one of the largest chemical producers of our country, speak about how they audit their vendors. Now, as ports or as a shipping company, I'm a logistics provider to people like these. Now, if I don't adapt these practices, I'm out of business. So it's a matter of survival for us that we adapt these technologies, these innovations which are happening around the world. So tomorrow, when you, as a producer sitting here in India, and you walk into your customer's office in the US, you're competing against many, many producers who are based all around the world. So it's not only how you produce that particular chemical, it's also how you carry that chemical right up to their doorsteps in their production facility, wherever it is. So it's the responsibility is on me as your logistics provider to ensure that your carbon footprints are minimized. Give us few years, not few years, even few months, we would be able to tell you if your cargo is passing through my port, if you're using me as your logistics provider, so many kg of carbon dioxide emissions will be produced. If you use this route, I have another alternative where you pay a slight premium and you can use with this alternate by reducing your carbon emissions. So this is where we are moving towards, which is basically a matter of survival for us. Now what's happening in port sector is, I'll get into some of the basics. Since I come from the logistics side, I come from the shipping side, and I see most of the people over here are from the either traders or manufacturers. What we are doing on the logistics side, I'll give you some breakup of that. So if you look at a port basically, if I were to divide into 3 parts, one is the interface with the ship, where the cargo is coming in and out. Second part is what's happening in the port. And the third part is what's happening on the hinterland side, which is interaction with the receiver or the shipper. So on the first part, which is the ship side, you already heard what Chairman Tuticorin Port mentioned in the morning, how they are moving towards green tugs. So the government of India has adopted a policy where they're moving towards a green tug transition policy. By 2027, 6 ports of our country have been mandated to use green harbor tugs. A tug, basically a tug is the one which is used to bring the ship in and out for maneuvering of that. So that has been mandated, and out of 6, Kandla port issued a tender just few months back, and Paradip port issued a tender I think earlier this month or last month only. So they are working actively towards going into electric tugs or tugs which should be running on methanol or hydrogens. That's one part. Second is a ship which is coming to your port. The ship is today ship has an option to use an alternate fuel. Lots are happening which has been mandated by the IMO. There's the International Maritime Organization which provides or which mandates rules for all the ships in the world. They have said all ships in this world have to be net zero by 2050. That's the rule, nobody can change it. So for me as a port, number one, I'm getting ships which are using alternate fuels today. Number two, the harbor tug which is bringing in the ship, that's going to use an alternate fuel or with minimal carbon emissions. So that's on the ship side what's happening. Second is what's happening at the port. At the port, I have got my gantries which take the cargo out of the ship or place the cargo on the ship. Then I have RTGCs, I have reach stockers which move around the port, putting cargo from one place to the other or loading it on a train or a truck, stuff like those things. And the second part of what's happening in a port is my admin, regular movement of my people, my admin offices, stuff like those things. That's where maximum progress has happened. If I were to talk about Baxi, we run 12 port terminals in the country today. And we recently did one study where we had our annual report on our ESG come out. And we saw that in terms of scope 1 and scope 2, we have achieved substantial savings in what's happening at our port. The area where we need to work, how it has happened, number one, we have moved all the equipments from diesel run to electric operated. We have got solar powers, all offices, all the free space on our ports, and it's not only Baxi ports, many ports in the country. All the open areas in these ports where you can't store any cargo and all, they're setting up solar plants over there, and which is giving the power for all your admin and movement within the port premises. The third part, and which is where the maximum work has to be done, is movement of cargo from the port to hinterland or vice versa. And which earlier you already heard Mr. Gadre speak about how they are using electric trucks and all. Now that's possible because his plant is in Taloja and Nhava Sheva is just close by. If my plant is in Mahad, if my plant is Silvassa, that's quite far off. It is difficult for me to run electric trucks on such long routes, and this is where work is happening. Again, as Baxi, we have floated a company, a joint venture with another company, wherein we are bringing in electric trucks, which would be running on battery, which would be modules, which can change every 100 kilometers. So just like you have fuel stations, you have petrol pumps, you have these battery charging stations every 100 kilometers. So that a battery, because the battery is heavy, so that the battery doesn't occupy much of the carrying capacity of the truck. These require huge capex, so you can't run it all over the country at one go. But yes, that experiment is going on at Nhava Sheva. The pilot project is going between Nhava Sheva and Pune right now. So this is where we are moving towards, wherein you will soon see in few years' time, the truck which is carrying your cargo, the truck which is coming to a factory premises will again be running on electricity. And then the entire supply chain, right from your factory, wherever it is located on hinterland, right to the port, and from the port to the destination wherever the cargo is going, it would be green. That's where the logistics industry is moving towards.
No, great to hear from Rajnish and somebody who has just been to Denmark, and I visited Malmö, which is a beautiful city, and you've done such maritime operations related studies as well, and I think taking sustainability as a part of life is what you see overall coming in even in our lives as we speak. And what you really embarked upon is innovation, not only from the perspective of operations, but also diversification. I think capturing value, the experiment which you're doing with regards to trucks, I think you're capturing that value aspect as well, because then the entire greening of the logistics, you were at the ship and ports, now you're moving into land, and that capturing that value is also elevating your value of the company. I think that's a great thing to do from a sustainability plus profitability point of view. Any more such kind of innovations and or any thoughts or vision which you think other industries or sectors could also take into consideration and help bring in that ecosystem?
Yeah, definitely, but lots needs to be done. It is happening, but lots more need to be done. And you just spoke about in terms of what Denmark is doing, Sweden is doing, and that Scandinavia is doing. It's applicable for all of us. I mean, if I were to ask this question around this room over here, when was the last you would have attended a trade meet, or when was the last you would have gone through a trade magazine, and there is no talk of sustainability? It is important today, whether you call it sustainability, decarbonization, green shipping, net zero, you call it by different names, but it has to be there. And the reason why it is there is because when you go again to a customer's office, and he is going to evaluate you not only on the price of your product, he is also going to evaluate you how did you carry that product to him. We have an ISO tank cleaning station at Nhava Sheva, wherein we are inviting our customers, they come and audit our facility to ensure that each of the effluent that comes out of there is being recycled and is being reused. Now, these are technologies which are available. It's not an innovation that I have done. It is what we are adopting. So if you were to just sit down and watch what's happening all around the world, there's a lot which we can adapt in our country. Another example which I heard in terms of, I don't know if you mentioned, you're moving towards IBC. Sorry, I think Ravindra ji mentioned, I'm moving towards IBC. That's again something that we keep talking to our clients everywhere. Why are you moving your cargo in normal trucks? Why are you using flexi bags? Use ISO tanks. That's far more sustainable way of moving your cargo domestically. Yes, it's a premium. Small premium you pay, but that's a cost we all have to incur for our next generation. Let's leave them a better planet the way we got ourselves. We were lucky enough. Let's not spoil it. So that we have to go through it. In terms of the innovation that you spoke about, IMO has made a lot of innovations happen in the shipping bit. If you look at ships traditionally run on heavy fuel, today, if you look at the number of ships that are being delivered today or the number of ships which are on order today, a lot of them have an option to use an alternate fuel. And what is this alternate fuel? Alternate fuel is LNG as of date. Most of the ships which are being built today have an option to run on LNG. There is a lot of innovation happening, and earlier I think you told me you were working with Maersk also. Maersk is working, and many other companies are working on running ships on methanol. There are companies which are working on ships running on hydrogen. So the technology is evolving. It will take some time for it to become commercially viable because the cost of operating that is very, very high. But the fact is an LNG ship is there today. It is most likely some of your cargo which would have gone from Indian ports. You have got ships which are coming to India which are running on LNG. So one big business prospect we have in India today is if we can provide LNG bunkering facility at some of our ports. There are 198 places in this world from where a LNG ship can take bunkers. Setting up an LNG bunkering facility is not easy. Cochin port in India did try it out a couple of times, but that was more of an experiment. Commercially, we don't have any facility for that in India. If we can set up something like that, because you don't have anything right from the east of Suez Canal right up to Singapore, you don't have any LNG bunkering facility. So that's one innovation, that's one business prospect that's available over there.
Yeah, sure. This also brings to the point that, I mean, with JM Baxi having this kind of vision, I think probably from a bringing all the ports together or something like that, or setting up a, so what we did, what BCG did with Maersk was basically have a visionary, institute created. It was a institute created far, I mean, 3, 4 years back, even before the IMO regulations came in, to let all the shippers know that these regulations are in the talks, and all countries are going to go for it and bring in alternate fuel related aspects, understanding to, and also build capacity, general capacity on how things are going to go in the future. So similarly for India, something like that, we could have a vision created, because that is something that can add value to the brand. Actually, that is one way of bringing it to the forefront for all the future generations, that this is something that you leave as a legacy. And that's really all of us in this room. We need to leave a legacy to our future generations on doing something good for the environment, good for the company, being profitable at the same time, and also taking forward our national interest. It's very important that we all become self-reliant, and also have a sustained, balanced growth for going forward for India as well as for all of us. I think we need to develop, we need to go forward, but also have this balanced growth.
I'll just add to that, and also get premium on your product, because Prakash just mentioned that how the plant that took over from IGL, you're getting good premium on your product. So it also, you will be able to generate premium from your products if you adapt these practices.
Yeah, great. On that note, we've come to an end to this very interesting conversation. I would like to thank all our panelists for bringing in such rich conversations on sustainability, giving examples on real-time examples on how we can drive profitability and sustainability.